Welcome everybody to this week's news. I want to give you an update real quick on last week's news. Remember I talked about the golf cart? You'll see pictures here to jot your memory that had the accident up on Morris Boulevard. Well, the sad news is the person driving that golf cart had passed away from that accident. So they need to really start taking that area up there on Morris Boulevard seriously. This is not the first time somebody's been killed in an accident in a golf cart up there. So what they're going to do about it, I don't know. But they're going to have to seriously look at this. It says Barbara Lawless has died as the result of a golf cart accident last week on Morris Boulevard. She was alone in her red 2017 Yamaha golf cart at 3:45 p.m. June 30th and was traveling southbound approaching Juanita Avenue when she made a sudden left turn from the golf cart lane. I've mentioned this. Do not do that. Do not make left turns from a golf cart lane. I don't care where you're at. Into the path of a white 2006 Ford F-150 van driven by 58-year-old man from Naples, according to the accident report from the Florida Highway Patrol. The front end of the van struck the left side of the golf cart. The trooper noted in the report that she made an improper turn and was inattentive. She was ejected from the golf cart and transported by ambulance to the Ocala Regional Medical Center, where she later died. Residents from Community District Development 1 has been pressing for action on Morris Boulevard north of County Road 466. They are concerned about the dangerous commingling of golf carts and automobiles. The accidents up here has confirmed that there's a problem. And I will say that it seems that most of the problem is basically because of just bad judgment, like making sudden left turns from a golf cart lane. That's, common sense tells you not to do that. Or somebody in a car speeding up to get in front of a golf cart and make a sudden right turn in front of a golf cart. Common sense tells you not to do that. Be careful up there. Be very careful. People have died up there. Here's a letter to the editor that goes along with what I said last week in the Village's news. To the editor, thank you for sharing news about positive actions and events on Tuesday rather than publicizing the police blotter. Reading about citizens and events receiving recognition for the good they have done should take precedence over space given to those who repeatedly break the law. As for the petition signed by over 200 people requesting a turnpike sound barrier, did these folks not walk the perimeter of the lot when they bought their house? The turnpike was there before the houses were even built. I understand their frustration, but the paraphrase an old saying, buyer beware, that's sent in by Lawless, Philbrick, Village of Briar Meadow. That's exactly what I said. I don't see this argument going very far. A Coleman man was arrested after he was caught driving on a license that had been suspended due to his failure to pay child support. You produced them children, young men. Pay for them. Gilbert Michael Flores, 30, was at the wheel of a silver 2008 GMC Envoy at 9:39 a.m. Tuesday on East Warm Springs Avenue in Coleman when a Sumter County Sheriff's deputy noticed that Flores wasn't wearing a seatbelt. During the traffic stop, the native New Yorker was extremely nervous, according to the arrest report. He admitted he was nervous because his driver's license had been suspended due to his failure to pay child support. Flores was arrested on a charge of driving while licensed. He was booked at the Sumter County Detention Center and released after posting a $500 bond. Yeah, I'm sorry. He's letting his kids, he doesn't want to pay for the kids, but he's got $500. Move on with the news, Skip. Move on with the news. A villager being sued over non-payment for a $3,000 paint job at her home has been arrested for passing a bad check. Linda Lee Richards, 74, of the village of Gilcrest, was arrested last week on a felony charge of fraud. She was picked up at her home at 3097 Defoe Terrace. She remains free on the $500 bond. Richards is already being sued by Superior Painting and Cleaning of Ocala after her failure to pay for a $3,000 paint job at her home. In the initial 2-hour meeting with a company representative, Richards has not selected any colors. She agreed to the $3,000 price, according to a form filed in the Sumter County Court. The work was supposed to start April 18th, and Richards gave the paint company very specific hours during which the work could be performed. The company employs hearing impaired workers, and Richards kicked one of them out of her home. She began yelling at the top of her lungs at other employees as they attempted to perform their duties. An accidental paint spill onto her carpet caused another unpleasant episode. The company tried to bring in another carpet cleaning service to satisfy Richards, but she harassed that company so much it declined to get involved in the work. Richards refused to pay for the completed paint job. Richards purchased a home on Defoe Terrace in 2021 for $520,000 that originally sold in 2013 for $298,000. We'll let the courts fight that one out. A habitual traffic offender with a long history of arrest was taken into custody at Mulberry Grove Plaza in the Villages. William David Petty, 49 of Summerfield, was driving a black 2005 Chevy Impala on Tuesday when he was pulled over for failing to stop at a stop sign at the Circle K gas station and convenience store at Mulberry Grove Plaza. A check revealed Petty's license had been suspended since 1994. That suspension was connected to a conviction for driving under the influence with property damage, personal injury in Marion County. He was convicted of DUI again in 1997 and 2000 in Marion County. In 2010, he was convicted of possession of a controlled substance. Petty was arrested on a felony charge of driving while license suspended. He was booked at the Marion County Jail on a $10,000 bond. A Village of Sanibel woman has been jailed after violating her probation. Francine O'Kella Jackson, 57, was booked without bond Tuesday night at the Sumter County Detention Center. Jackson had been arrested last year with methamphetamine tucked into her bra. The Queen... Guess where she's from? The Queens, New York native was also driving on a license which had been suspended for failure to pay a traffic fine. She had previously been arrested in 2016 when she attempted to steal Nexus Youth Renewal Elixir at a Publix in Leesburg. I don't even know what that is. A convicted felon with a loaded stolen gun was apprehended by Fruitland Park Police. Demetro DeRay Bell, 36 of Mellickville, was driving a white Dodge Charger with Georgia plates at 2:38 a.m. Saturday on County Road 466A and U.S. Highway 27 and 441 when he made a U-turn, according to the arrest report from the Fruitland Park Police Department. During a traffic stop, Bell and a passenger appeared to be nervous. A check revealed Bell's Georgia driver's license was suspended, and he admitted it was probably due to an unpaid child support. He also admitted there was a small amount of marijuana in the vehicle. A search of the vehicle turned up a black Glock 19 9mm handgun with a loaded magazine and one round in the chamber. A check revealed the gun had been reported stolen by Lake County. Bell had several felony convictions in Georgia. He was arrested and charges with possession of a weapon and possession of ammunition by a felon. He was booked at the Lake County Jail on a $20,000 bond. To the editor, I live in the village of DeSoto, and there are numerous lawn ornaments on several homes. Do I care? No. Do I feel compelled to be a busybody and snitch on my neighbors? No. Everything is, to me, done in a tasteful way. It is apparent that the so-called builder's covenants only apply to people who their neighbors do not like and choose to snitch on. You know, that's kind of a weird way to look at it. It's not snitch. If they're breaking a rule and they turn them in, who are you blaming? The guy that turned them in or the people that broke the rule? So the Villages is a big lie for several reasons. It is not the friendliest hometown in Florida. You realize that's a sales tactic, right? I've been here long enough that I know 3 different changes, and that's the latest one, the phrase friendliest hometown. About 15 to 20% of the people who reside there are miserable, and their goal in life is to make other people miserable. It is not a secure community. Any fool with a long arm or stick can press the gate button to gain entry. Yes, I've showed that in my videos many times. It is not a 55-plus community. That can be documented by the numerous arrests of individuals who are in some cases somewhere between 19 and 50 years of age. I was walking my dog, and a lady asked me if I would walk with her as she passed a large tree. After we passed a tree, I learned of her concern. A white male somewhere between the ages of about 20 to 25 was taking a pee on the tree and looked to be smoking a joint. So it's about time people who market the Villages start being truthful about the real Villages. That's sent in by Anthony DeCandio of the Village of DeSoto. Well, Mr. Anthony DeCandio, I'm not disagreeing with anything you say. I understand where you're coming from. That's why we do this on Fridays, is not that we pick out any particular reason to poke fun at anybody or say it's this guy's fault or that guy's fault. It's just life here. For the longest time, this place was always known as the bubble. I think people got the wrong idea, or I'm sure they did, that inside this bubble, everything is roses. Inside this bubble, that was my stomach growling. Did you hear that? Inside this bubble, everything is secure and safe. We're protected in here. We're not. No more protected in here than you are anywhere else, for that matter. Is it safer than probably the outskirts of the villages? I would say yes. I feel like I'm safer here than if I lived, say, downtown Wildwood. Now, don't go throwing things at me. I'm just telling you how I feel. I feel like I'm safer here than if I bought a place in, I don't know, Fruitland Park or Lady Lake. I feel like I'd be safer here if I lived downtown Ocala. That's just the way I feel. Is it true? I don't have no facts to back any of that up, but I just feel that way. The thing is, all streets are public. I've mentioned this. Maybe I can't mention it enough. I don't know if anybody else has even mentioned it. All streets in the villages is public roads. So when you see a guy, say, peeing on a tree, he may not even live here. He just may be passing through on his bicycle. If you guys don't really notice these things, who stops anybody from riding in here on a bicycle? From anywhere? Nowhere. None. They don't need a gate pass. They don't need to show anything. They're on your golf cart trails. They're riding these bicycles everywhere. And there's a big bunch of them. They don't even live here. They live in Wildwood. They ride their bicycles over here. They live in these different developments that's being built around the villages, and they ride their bicycle in here. Or electric bicycle. That seems to be a big scam too, the electric bikes. So, you got to be aware, and that's why we do the news, letting people know. Don't leave your purse laying on the passenger seat in your golf cart. At one time, that's this community, you could do that. Not anymore. Don't leave your keys in the golf cart. At one time, you could do that. Not anymore. You just got to be aware that this is getting to be the place where it's no different than where you come from. The only difference is activities, weather in the winter, and having access to drive everywhere in your golf cart. If you want to go to the hospital, you can. Restaurants, you can. You don't really need a car. That's really the only three differences that I really see here. Other than that, and there's a whole lot of people here that are retired as opposed to, say, living in a major city. It's still a good place to live. I still feel safe here. I still feel secure here. It's getting pricier to live here, but it's probably true. That's probably true no matter where you go. I do get this letter, and a lot of what he says on there is what we've been talking about for a long time. A drunk driver suspect was nabbed on the 4th of July on a worrisome stretch of Morris Boulevard in the Villages. Same stretch we were just talking about. A Sumter County Sheriff's deputy was working traffic enforcement at about 5 p.m. Monday on Morris Boulevard, north of County Road 466, due to several citizen traffic complaints received by the Sumter County Sheriff's Office. A deputy caught on radar a white 2019 Dodge Ram pickup traveling north at 49 miles per hour in a 30 miles per hour zone. During a traffic stop at Morris Boulevard and Da Silva Street, the driver was identified as 58-year-old Stephen David Rega of Ocala. He had slurred speech consistent with alcohol impairment. The Wayne, New Jersey native was asked to participate in field sobriety exercise, but he claimed he had health issues, including he was unable to stand with his feet together due to his knees. He almost fell over backwards during the exercises he attempted to perform. The exercises were discontinued. Rega refused to provide breath samples. A criminal history check revealed several previous DUI arrests. He was arrested on charges of driving under the influence and refusal to submit to a breath test. He was booked at the Sumter County Detention Center and released after posting a $1,500 bond. A Lady Lake man was jailed on multiple drug charges after a traffic stop in the Villages. Jerry Curtis Mueller, 38, had been driving a blue 2004 Chevy Silverado at 8:45 a.m. Sunday when he was pulled over by County Road 466A and Canal Street for failure to wear a seatbelt, according to the arrest report of the Sumter County Sheriff's Office. The deputy noted in a report that Mueller took a little bit of time to pull over and seemed very nervous and agitated. A K-9 unit was summoned to to the scene, and Mueller began to argue with the dog's handlers. The dog alerted on the vehicle, indicating the likely presence of drugs. A search of the vehicle turned up 2 vape pens containing a brown liquid, as well as Cheetos Crunchy Medibles infused with snacks bags containing edible Cheetos within it. I have no idea what that is. The bag had a 500 milligram label and a warning label that stated medication in this package was distributed with local state initiatives regarding medical cannabis laws. It may be legally obtained by a qualified patient. A plastic bag containing marijuana was also found in the vehicle. Deputy discovered that Mueller is currently on felony probation for possession of methamphetamine. He was taken into custody on multiple drug charges and booked without bond at the Sumter County Detention Center due to the probation violation. A Lady Lake man riding a bicycle was arrested when methamphetamine was found in his sock. Dale Lynn Billings, 58, was riding a bicycle at about 11:30 p.m. Tuesday on U.S. Highway 27 and 441 at Grays Airport Road when a Fruitland Park police officer noticed Billings' bicycle did not have proper lighting. The officer asked to search Billings, leading to the discovery of a bag of methamphetamine in his sock. Billings was arrested on a felony charge of drug possession and booked at Lake County Jail. Billings had been arrested last year in a burglary at a medical office in the Villages. I remember that, now that I think about it. His face don't look familiar, but I do remember that medical building. I think if I remember, it was a dentist office got broke into. Probably drug-related. Letter to the editor. To those residents who signed a petition for a sound barrier to be built due to the turnpike noise. The turnpike was there when you bought your home property. Did you not hear the noise from the turnpike while viewing the prospective purchase? Now you are requesting that the village's residents pay for a sound barrier. I suggest you approach the person you bought from or possibly go to the Department of Transportation and they may pay for your sound barrier. The cost of this should not fall on village residents due to your choice of buying next to or near the turnpike. That's sent in by Judy Wilson, the village of Hacienda. Well, I don't disagree with any of it other than she worded something wrong here. It says, I suggest you approach the person you bought from. That was the developer. These were new homes. And that's why I say I don't see this argument going very far. And I think the rest of you agree with me. But we'll see. A pair of suspected Myrtle Beach, South Carolina drug dealers were nabbed in a parking lot of Wendy's in the Villages. Michael Paul Bays, 33, was at the wheel of a white 2018 Toyota Camry with South Carolina license plates at 7:52 a.m. Wednesday on U.S. Highway 27 and 441 when he made an abrupt right turn into the parking lot of Wendy's on Becerra Boulevard in the Spanish Springs area. The vehicle was in the drive-through lane for an extended period, which gave a police officer a chance to check on the status of the driver's license of the Camry's registered owner, according to an arrest report of Blair Lake Police Department. The check revealed that Bay's license had been suspended in both South Carolina and in Florida. During the traffic stop, Bays admitted to the suspensions. A search of the vehicle turned up 13.4 grams of fentanyl, 5.9 grams of marijuana, a scale covered in fentanyl, and multiple syringes, 2 of which were loaded with fentanyl. A passenger was identified at 31-year-old Catherine Scott Holman, also of Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. She was in possession of 11.2 grams of fentanyl, 3.4 grams of alprazolam, and drug paraphernalia. I don't know what alprazolam. Someone tell me what that is. I never heard of it. During the booking process, Bay refused to sign his name on a citation and deliberately smeared a thumbprint. He was booked on charges as well as a charge of driving while license suspended. He was booked at the Lake County Jail on a $54,000 bond. Holman was also booked on drug charges. Her bond was set at $28,000. Drugs, and drugs. It just seems like there's no end to it. And this fentanyl seems like between that and methamphetamine, that seems to be really the big drug anymore. A villager upset about noise from the Florida Turnpike is predicting an upcoming expansion of the roadway will worsen the problem. You think? Harold Meyer of the Village of Monarch spoke out on the issue Thursday morning at the Community Development District 12 Board of Supervisors meeting at Everglades Recreation Center. I don't live on a turnpike, but I can hear the turnpike, said Meyer, who led a petition effort which collected the signatures of 200 residents also concerned about the noise from the turnpike. Meyer said the Florida Turnpike will be expanded to 3 lanes and possibly 4 lanes. That will worsen the problem. Those who don't think it's an issue are going to find it is an issue, Meyer said. He said the Florida Department of Transportation would not even consider putting up a sound barrier until after the scheduled expansion of the turnpike. That means any type of barrier wouldn't be considered until 2032. That's 10 years away, Meyer said. He urged the CDD-12 board to stay ahead of the game. However, it was clear that the supervisor have no intention of getting involved in the matter. Supervisor David Robbins suggested that Meyer contact the office of Congressman Daniel Webster, who serves on the House of Transportation Committee. Robbins said that Webster has much more power and influence than the CDD-12 board. This is an issue that is much, much larger than this committee. CDD-12 Board Chairman John Radabush echoed the sentiment. I know the developer is trying to help, but it's up to the people who bought the houses, Radabush said. Do you think something should be done to accommodate residents that are upset about the noises? Share your comments below. Just saying. A villager accused of voting twice in 2020 wants to see numerous emails exchanged about her criminal case sent or received by the Sumter County attorney. Joanne Halstead, 73, of the village of Palo Alto, is facing a felony charge of casting 2 ballots in the 2020 election. She is accused of casting a 2020 general election ballot on October 20, 2020, in person in Sumter County. She has allegedly cast a second ballot in New York by absentee, according to a court document. She is a registered Republican, and her social media activity suggests she is a supporter of former President Trump. Nearly 100 emails are being sought by Halstead's legal team. They were exchanges involving Sumter County Attorney Jennifer Ray, acting in her capacity as counsel for the Sumter County Supervisor of Elections Office. Judge Mary Hatcher recently ruled that an August 21 email from Ray to State Attorney Bill Gladson is a public record and should be turned over to Halstead's legal team. The court is reviewing 94 other emails, correspondences sent or received by Ray, who also serves as attorney for the Sumter County Commission. Yeah, just for those of you that don't know, any emails in the state of Florida is considered to be public record, just so you know. A proposed Sumter County 2022-23 budget would provide staffing for ambulances and cut the property tax rate while increasing general fund expenditures. Commissioners are expected to take their first look at the proposed $310 million budget Tuesday morning. Final adoption is scheduled in late September after 2 public hearings. 22-23 fiscal year begins October 1. The proposed budget was outlined in a letter to County Chairman Craig Estep from County Administrator Bradley Arnold. 4 commissioner seats are up for election in August 23 primary, but this year the budget may not be the same hot budget issue as it was in 2020 when a 25% tax increase the prior year led to the ousting of 3 incumbent commissioners. In the proposed budget, the property tax rate would be $5.59 per 1,000 assessed valuation, the same rate as in 2016 and a 9% decrease from last year's rate of $6.15. The rate would be set at the rollback rate, which is the amount needed to collect the same revenue as the previous year. Setting the rate higher than the rollback rate is a tax increase. Total spending of about $310 million is up 2.2% from last year's adopted budget of $303 million. General fund expenditures would rise 8.1% to $180.1 million. Property taxes are one of the 76 revenue sources for the county. Others include option sales taxes, intergovernmental transfers, charges for services, and fire assessment fees. Hiring 36 firefighter, paramedics, and emergency medical technician is a major driver for increased spending. Business parks such as Governor Rick Scott Industrial Park and industrial areas such as the area near Interstate 75 and State Road 44 also could continue to grow with new and expanding businesses. A villager who golfs one-handed after suffering a stroke got a hole-in-one. James King of the village of Collier scored the lucky ace Saturday while golfing at the Okeechobee Executive Golf Course. It was his first hole-in-one. Well, congratulations, James. I know it's difficult, but you're hanging in there. You're still doing it. You're still making things happen. That's cool, dude. I can appreciate that news. Real quick, we got a house in our neighborhood that's up for sale now. That I just they always leave a card on our door. That house right there is 3 or 4 blocks down the road from where I live, and it's on sale for $424,000, and it's listed at the property of the villages. So 352-552-4749. If you're interested, give them a call. Attorney General Ashley Moody has some tips about avoid vacation rental scams. It happens here more than you would even think, and I've said it many times. Know who you're doing business with. Do your due diligence. Check them out. I mean, seriously, because here, I'll read it to you. These scams involve fake posting offering vacation rental properties. The scammers behind these ads often request an application fee or security deposit. Once payment is made, the rental listing may disappear along with the customer's money. Families may also show up on the day of vacation and find that the actual owners of the property have no record or intention of renting. This happened here. Florida is one of the most popular vacation destinations in the nation, and unfortunately, that makes it a market ripe for scammers. In 2019, a villager was ordered to pay $42,000 in restitution after ripping off snowbirds in a vacation rental scam. I reported that. That was a couple of years ago, I do believe. Or 2019, so, do the math. Tips to avoid vacation rentals. Know that listings requiring customers to leave the online platform or website to pay is a major red flag. Check to see if photos of the rental property are affiliated with other listings by using a reverse image search. If something seems suspicious, ask for additional photos of the listing. Use a reputable rental website that offers protection in the event of fraud or offers payment transfer options. Make payment through a payment portal on the listing website to ensure money is held in escrow until keys are in hand. Do not rely solely on email to contact a landlord, and be wary of listings with foreign telephone numbers. I wouldn't call a foreign telephone number to save my ass. Check for reviews and, if possible, visit the property to ensure everything is up to par. Pay for a rental with a credit card since it is easier to dispute the fraudulent charge. Anyone who encounters a vacation rental scam should immediately report to the local law enforcement and file a complaint online with the Florida Attorney General's office at myfloridalegal.com or call 1-866-9-NO-SCAM. That's 1-866-9-NO-SCAM. A man was arrested after he was found sleeping in a pickup truck at Wawa in Lady Lake. An officer found 46-year-old Joshua Michael Malika of Gainesville in the wee hours Thursday, passed out in the driver's seat, slumped over the center console, according to the arrest report of Lady Lake Police Department. An officer approached the truck and knocked on the window, waking up Malika. A check revealed that Malika's driver's license is suspended. Jeez, I think half of the state is suspended. A prescription sleep aid Remultian was found in the truck, and it appeared Malika did not have a prescription for the pills. He claimed he was unaware that he had been in the truck. Also found in the truck was 1.6 grams of methamphetamine and a glass pipe. A New Jersey native, yay, New Jersey, was initially taken to UF Health Leesburg Hospital for a medical evaluation. He was later booked at the Lake County Jail and charged with driving while license suspended, possession of methamphetamine, possession of Remultian without a prescription, and possession of drug paraphernalia. Bond was set at $5,500. A driver with a suspended license was arrested after causing a crash on County Road 466A. Joaquin Alberto Avila, 34, of Orlando, was involved in an accident about 2:30 p.m. Thursday on County Road 466A and State Road 25. The native New Yorker was at fault in the accident for failure to yield at a traffic signal. A check revealed multiple suspension on the village license for failure to pay court-ordered financial obligations. His license is currently suspended. He was arrested on a misdemeanor charge of driving while license suspended and ticketed on a charge of failure to yield. He was booked at the Lake County Jail and released after posting a $1,000 bond. In 2020, Avila had been arrested in Fruitland Park on charges including driving on a license from another state while his Florida license was suspended. Against the law to have two licenses from two different states. They stopped that years ago because of truck drivers. I know because at one time I had two driver's licenses, one from Indiana, one from Ohio. Back then it was legal. So if you got too many tickets on the Indiana license, you could still drive your semi-truck on the Ohio license. Well, they closed that door. And especially when reciprocity started. Lakeside Landing, a resident was arrested at Southern Trace Plaza in the Villages. A Sumter County Sheriff's deputy spotted 51-year-old Christian Allen Kaminsky at about 7:30 p.m. Thursday at a Circle K. The deputy was aware that a warrant had been issued for Kaminsky for a probation violation. He was taken into custody. The deputy found that the La Crosse, Wisconsin native was in possession of sildenafil citrate, a drug for which he did not have a prescription. He was arrested on drug charges and booked without bond at the Sumter County Detention Center on a probation violation. Kaminsky was arrested in 2020 when he had illicit pills mixed in with his Viagra. Kaminsky was involved in a golf cart crash in 2015 in the Villages. A man with a stolen bicycle was arrested at a public supermarket in the Villages. Raymond Lee Edwards, 38, of Summerfield, was wanted by Marion County Sheriff's deputies in connection with the theft of a bicycle. He was spotted by Lady Lake police officers shortly before 8 p.m. Thursday sitting on a bench outside of Publix at La Plaza Grande. That's up by Spanish Springs. The stolen white Mongoose mountain bike was parked next to him. Initially, Edwards denied that the bike was stolen, but he later admitted that he had taken it. An individual at Walmart in Summerfield. Marion County Sheriff's deputies arrived on the scene and confirmed it was the bicycle that had been seeking, the report said. The Ohio native was also found to be in possession of methamphetamine. He was arrested on charges of theft, possession of methamphetamine, and possession of a drug paraphernalia. He was booked on a $7,000 bond at the Lake County Jail. The Community Development District 3 Board of Supervisors is considering going to court over a former homeowner's refusal to pay a $5,200 fine. Donald Terry Jr. has refused to pay the $5,200 in deed compliance fines racked up at his former home at 1825 Sanibel Court in the village of Bel Air. In April, the board refused to forgive the fines. The home was purchased by Donald Terry Sr. in 2005 for $186,500. In 2013, the property was transferred to Donald Terry Jr. and Roseanne Terry of Deltona. They were the owners at the time of the violations. The home was sold in August 2021 to Pernelli LLC for $215,000. 2 months later, the home was sold to Jeffrey Wyatt for $309,000. The board learned Friday that Terry has refused to pay the fine and reportedly said the district should have collected the money at the time of the property changed hands. Supervisor Gail Lazenby suggested heading to small claims court to try to collect the money. Supervisor Stefan Franklin agreed with him. However, board chairman Bill Ray and Supervisor Tillman Dean feared the legal expense could outweigh the potential recovery of the money fine. Board member Terry Biddle was absent. Therefore, the CDD3 board decided to wait until next month when a full board is present to render a decision. Do you think the CDD3 board should forget about collecting the $5,200 and let it go? No. You got to set precedent here, because if you do this, everybody's going to look at you like, well, you ain't got no authority at all anyway. I don't have to listen to you. The hell with you. You couldn't collect this money from him. You're not going to collect it from me. You can't discriminate and say, I got to pay something that he didn't have to pay. You better collect it. A villager has failed to persuade the Community District 2 Board of Supervisors to make an exception for his Florida room. Yosef El Masri, who lives at 2164 Estevez Drive in Villa Vera Cruz in the village of San Diego, was back before the board Friday morning in a bid to save the addition he made to his home without the approval of the Architectural Review Committee. He purchased the patio villa in 1997 for $73,200. He said he was offered the option to have the Florida room added to the home at the time of the purchase. He said he turned it down, the Florida room, back then because he did not have the money to pay for it. He said he and his wife had come from the Chicago area and we were tired of big houses. However, his wife was in need of in-home care, so he recently decided to make the addition, essentially enclosing the formerly screened-in area. After the deed compliance violation was reported, El Mesri went before the ARC to appeal for retroactive permission to keep the Florida room. The ARC did not grant his request. El Mesri, who immigrated to the United States in 1968, got little sympathy from the CDD2 board, which has ordered him to remove the addition and bring the property back into compliance. What you have is in violation of the rules. Put it back the way it was, said Supervisor Jim Kipalone. El Mesri was not happy with the board's decision and had to be told several times to step away from the podium and return to his seat. It's bureaucracy without a reason, El Mesri said. Well, sir, I do understand and I do sympathize at your age having to do all this and the money loss, but I've mentioned it on here, and to those of you that watch my channel and the stuff that I provide, I'm going to tell you right up front, do not turn your nose up to the Architectural Review Committee. It's a bad idea to turn your nose up to them, and that's what it boils down to. If he would have just simply went in front of the Architectural Review Committee and said, hey, I'm wanting to put this on my house because of whatever the reason, as long as he's within the deed compliance thing, you know, you're so many feet from the property line and so on and so forth, they'll approve certain things. Like on this one, if you see the picture, biggest thing you want to notice is how the vinyl siding does not match the rest of the house. They would not approve that. It has to match. And don't tell me you can't get it to match. You can. So, you know, I'm just simply saying, you let ARC approve it and you got no problems. And it doesn't cost you anything to go in front of ARC with a plan, and they'll walk you through it to get these things approved. A villager was injured when she allowed her 9-year-old granddaughter to drive a golf cart. Now, during the last porch sitting out here, didn't I point out that there was a golf cart full of kids? I don't know how old they was. As you get older, sometimes the kids look younger. I don't know. But the one driving the golf cart was sitting in the passenger seat, leaning over, holding onto the steering wheel. The person behind the steering wheel, she looked to be about 10. Maybe she was 14. I don't know, you know, but she was like young. So the passenger was driving the golf cart. 2 kids were in the back. There wasn't an adult in a golf cart anywhere. People seem to think, Grandma and Grandpa seem to think that these golf carts is like a Disney ride. It's okay to drive around the neighborhood. Just stay in the neighborhood. Don't go out on the main road. Well, that's wrong. All streets in the villages is public roads. Let an accident happen, and you're being for a serious lawsuit. And here's one where a 9-year-old girl was driving the golf cart. And then don't play dumb. People play dumb here all the time. So, well, it's the law in Florida. You have to be 14 years old with proper ID, picture ID. Any driver's license branch anywhere in the United States will take a picture of your kid and have their birth date and stuff on it. It's like $5. It's nothing. And yet, you got a picture ID. So if something does happen, you can prove that this person is 14. The granddaughter was at the wheel of a golf cart shortly before noon Wednesday on Ambrosia Place at Havana Trail near Odell Recreation Center, according to the preliminary report of the Sumter County Sheriff's Office. The report indicated it was a rollover accident. The 68-year-old grandmother was transported by ambulance from the scene of the crash to UF Health, the village's hospital. Community Development District 3 Supervisor Gail Lazenby, who has retired from a long career in public safety, which includes many years of service with the village's public safety. She said it's imperative for grandparents to learn to say no to grandchildren who are too young to drive a golf cart. In Florida, a child must be 14 years old to legally drive a golf cart along with proper ID. If a child younger than 14 is caught driving a golf cart, the child can be ticketed. That ticket would prevent that child from getting a driver's license at age 16. The license could not be obtained until the 18th birthday. A Florida ticket would be tracked through the departments of motor vehicles in all other 49 states. So just don't let them do it. A Lake Sumter restaurant will be undergoing interior renovation this summer. Bids are due by July 22 for the project at Johnny Rockets at 976 Old Mill Run. Construction is expected to begin in August. All of the work will take place at night. from 11 p.m. to 6 a.m. The restaurant will remain open during the renovation projects. The architect for the project is ARC Vision of St. Louis, Missouri. I've been in Johnny Rockets many times. I don't know how many times, but quite a few times. It's kind of a neat place. It takes me back, you know. Properties of the village's sales representative will lose her driver's license as a result of a drunk driving arrest in which she was at the wheel of a golf cart. Leah Ann Imbersel, 46, who lives at 718 Shepherd Way in the village of Caroline, was driving a multicolor club car golf cart at 8:52 p.m. March 4 on Old Camp Road and Old Mill Run when she was pulled over because the golf cart's headlights were not illuminated. Ebersole said she left Lake Sumter Landing and forgot to turn on the golf cart's headlights, according to the arrest report. The odor of alcohol coming from Ebersole was overwhelming, the deputy wrote in a report. Ebersole said she does not usually drive the golf cart, but said she was taking the golf cart home because her mother was too intoxicated to drive. The Rochester, New York native struggled through field sobriety exercises and provided breath samples that registered 0.136, 0.134 blood alcohol content. Last month, Sumter County Court, Ebersole pleaded no contest to a charge of driving under the influence. In addition to losing her driver's license for 6 months, she will be placed on probation for 1 year. She was also ordered to perform 50 hours of community service. Gate attendants in the villages provide more than a friendly greeting. Following is a list of tasks that they take on during each and every shift. Greeting all guests and residents with a hand wave or verbal greeting and a friendly smile as they enter the gate area. This may or may not be true to all gate guards. We have one here at Hillsboro at night. He works at night shift. He doesn't do anything. He won't get up. He doesn't wave. He doesn't smile. He doesn't care. He's been there for a long time. He doesn't care. If a semi-truck is coming through, a moving truck to bring you furniture to your new house, the guy at the gate, I have a clipboard, I give it to the driver and he fills that out, his name, the company, an address where he's going. And then immediately I go back into the guard gate and I call my supervisor or call dispatch and report that this moving truck, Mayflower, is going to blah, blah, blah address and he just went to my gate. They in turn will send a community watch guy, truck, lady, whoever's community watch is, to the area and go follow that route to the address that semi-truck's going to. The reason for that is sometimes these semi-truck drivers, they're not paying attention. And so they'll cut a corner and they cut it too much where the rear tires on the trailer will cut right across the corner of somebody's yard. And underneath that yard is what? I mean, water sprinklers and things. And that's very easily to break those water sprinklers up. I've had mine broke twice here. And they'll hold that company or that driver responsible for the repair of that. So that's what they do. They literally follow that truck in, and when he's done, they will literally follow it out to make sure that he doesn't cause any damages to property.
Don't leave your keys in the golf cart.